final chase was ruined by an employee's ignorance.
Sorry about that. Didn't know the gauge was so low.
Yeah, we didn't either.
It's my job to refuel the cars, but with all the visitors we've had coming through, I just haven't had the time. That's not to say all is lost.
The cars rented out are tracked by GPS.
Indeed. Every car has it, whether it's built in or we put it in. We can see them all, even tell them apart, thank goodness.
Oh, sick. So, what cars are out right now?
That there's private information, mister.
Our victim and suspect are closer than they appear.
How many of these cars did you forget to fuel?
It's just the popular models.
And who rented the Stingray?
Why, the couple that just came in here earlier.
And what was the name after?
Ooh, it was Richard. Dr. Richard Dwight. And now we're all off to find him. Us happy three.
Will we get there in time?
Was an actual crime committed?
Will this guy ever shut up?
All of this and more on the final episode of
Cluefull Whimsy.
This is how a brilliant man vanished entirely.
How an investigator and a dropout raced across the world to find him.
How an investigation, unlike any other, twisted the story further than thought possible.
And how a single push in the right or wrong direction can determine a future.
A story of tension.
Humor.
Begrudging teamwork.
Keep it positive.
Teamwork.
Forensics.
Tension.
We already said that.
Oh. Humor?
Said that too.
Perhaps it would be easier just to get to the story.
Indeed it would.
Cans of gas on the wall, 8 cans of gas. Take one down, fill up the crown, 17 cans of gas on the wall.
Just let him sing. He's everyone's right.
He withheld information, wasted our time. He's been trying to make it up to us since. I'll tell you a favor I'd like. Some peace and quiet.
Tired, are you?
Absolutely.
Weren't you asleep when Sanford and I came for you?
Yeah.
We barely walked a mile or two throughout the entire day.
I'm not, physically tired, really. It's just all this. Adjusting to everything. Sights, scenes...
Take one down, fill up the crown.
Sounds...
I suppose it's a little tiring, but you go through worse as a private investigator.
Really? Like what?
The number of phone calls you get for false cases. Remember how I keep telling you there's a difference between a detective and me?
That you can't make arrests and a detective can? I remember.
Most people don't.
Jeez, how bad does it get? Murders? Arson? Butt dials?
It's not the glamour you see on TV. Tax evasion is usually the most common case. Tax fraud, offshore bank accounts, so on and so forth. Occasionally, someone wants to catch up on an old ex without talking to them.
Really? Isn't that kinda borderline?
Stalking, unethical.
Yeah, that.
I do need to take most cases, but sometimes I let my moral side get the best of me.
Glad you clarified. I do not want to take life lessons from a stalker, aside from, avoiding everything they do.
Hey, stop the chatter. We're here.
Professor, that you?
Professor, I thought he was a doctor.
Paul, that just means he has a doctorate.
Oh.
Professor.
What? Wren?
Man, is it good to see you. Where have you been? Why are you all the way out here?
Well, you see,
Investigator Vince Chivirko. Mr. Dwight, if you would kindly come with me.
Pardon? Investigator? Wren, who is this? Also, what are you doing all the way out here?
I already introduced myself, and the rest of the information is need to know. You are suspected of kidnapping.
Excuse me, sir, but just what are you talking about? What have I done?
Well, you see, Professor, we've kinda been on a goose chase after you for the past day or so, more or less, and now here you are. We found a few things and heard about a few others, all of which has Sherlock here convinced that you're a murderer of some sort.
Why, I never. I've done nothing of the sort. I've harmed no one and done nothing. If anything, it's my own fault for being out here.
Then why didn't you tell anyone?
You called your son, Sanford, and he only heard the words California and danger. There was also screaming heard in the background. Just how do you explain that, Mr. Dwight?
I didn't do, well,
I can take this.
Who are you?
My name is Elsie Dwight, Richard Dwight's wife. If you are working as the law, you must give him his Miranda rights. Since you have failed to do so, anything you or he have said thus far may not be used against him in a court of law.
Someone's a lawyer.
For your information, young man, it is, or should be, common information and sense. And as for you...
May we pause for a moment? I've been rash. Let me state the case.
Be quick.
Richard Dwight vanished yesterday, sometime around 8 a.m. I was called in at 8 p.m. by your son, Sanford Dwight. A brief investigation of your home revealed a map of the locations of the teleporters, along with a sticky note pinpointing the Grand Canyon.
Oh, yes, I recall writing that. You see, Elsie usually gets home a little after 10. I'm usually back to class by that time, but...
Dear, let him finish.
My apologies. Go on.
Since teleportation is such a foreign subject, I needed an expert to aid in the investigation.
That's where I come in. Your class wasn't useless after all, Dickie. I checked the logs, saw you went to Yellowstone instead. We swung by at 9-ish, and you were gone by the time we got to the crime scene.
What crime scene?
Originally, it had been assumed Richard Dwight was alone on this trip. However, a second indent in the surrounding foliage provided a theory that there may be an accomplice.
Or a victim of sorts. Then Sandy got the phone call that was all garbled and heard danger and screaming, and we both assumed the worst. Got back to the teleporter, checked the logs at 9:30-ish to see you'd slipped past us.
Following the log, we came here to find a broken lawn chair and a bribed salesman. Had it not been for his ignorance,
Forgetful nature,
airheadedness,
and just being a general moron, we never would have found you. Now, come on, Professor. Tell the man you're not some psychopath.
He's not a psychopath.
Thank goodness.
If anything, I'm the crazy one.
pardon?
I apologize for giving you so much trouble. You see, our anniversary is coming up, and Richard managed to book the grand opening right over it. For the past 30 years, it's been like this. I was so tired of him getting caught up in his work with his colleagues. I finally took a day off from my job to take him out somewhere nice, away from the people, away from the work. I didn't warn him, so he probably forgot to tell you.
He sure did. Sandy was just as pissed as you are about the whole thing.
As for all that you found, the sticky note was from him. So I went to find him when I got home. The broken lawn chair...
I can explain that one. It's always been a little faulty, but it's all we had in the garage. I just haven't had the time to go buy a new one.
You haven't made time.
Yes, that. It collapsed and we packed it back up and dragged it through our shortcut.
That explains the drag marks. Wait, shortcut?
Yes, Elsie and I used to go to that little cliffside all the time to watch the sunset and the waterfall. Why, I remember our honeymoon
where you were called away on last-minute business while we were out there, and you nearly drove off without me.
I don't remember that part.
It's all right. You've always needed a little extra help. Now, the first logical thing was to go elsewhere. Not home, of course. I haven't waited 30 years to repeat our honeymoon. So we chose to come here.
It was getting quite late and I had classes to attend in the morning.
Which I asked him to cancel. He didn't.
It's rude to cancel plans.
It's rude to cut them short.
You're right. I apologize.
We swung by a local amusement park. It's just up the road from the car dealer. I expected something simple. The Tunnel of Love, maybe some fair games.
But there was a roller coaster.
And he loves roller coasters.
So we went on the roller coaster. And it must have jogged my memory because partway through...
He pulls out his phone to call Sanford. I'm already panicked. The wind is awful.
So that's what ruined the call.
And then I dropped my phone.
Bummer.
After that, we needed something to unwind.
Since we're right next to the longest highway in the U.S., to close off the day, we decided a little time on the road might be nice.
I really didn't want anyone coming after us. You understand by now, we haven't had a spare moment for each other since Richard began working on teleportation. I just wanted one day for us.
And so she tried to ask, more like bribe the salesman, to stay silent until we got back.
Clearly, it didn't work.
Speaking of, where is he?
Car hooked up, ready to go. Hitch not working. Pushed it, let's go.
Thank you, Paul. We'll all join you in a moment.
Good to hear.
My husband is an innocent man. If a little forgetful and much too busy, we apologize for all the trouble.
I see. My apologies for being rash.
So good to hear that I'm not ending our 30th anniversary in the slammer. Off we go then?
Yeah, I'm about ready to crash.
Oh, Elsie, one more thing.
Yes?
I lied about the classes tomorrow. I did take the day off. We can visit the rest of the teleporters. I made sure to put every single one in a place you love. A place we've been to, if you hadn't noticed.
I have noticed, and it's the best gift I could ever ask for.
I'm so sorry I've been so horribly busy. Is there any way I can perhaps make it up to you? Aside from dedicating a once only fictional science to your name.
You can hold my hand.
I can do that.
Seatbelts on.
Sure do.
Of course.
For sure.
Off we go.
Hey, Vince.
Yes?
Thanks for giving me my first interesting day in a long while.
Oh, thank you for coming along. The case couldn't have been solved without your help.
Say, when did you start your apprenticeship again?
Started at 17.
Think it's too late for me?
Of course not. You just need the right training.
Have any connections for that?
A few, but only one I think that would be happy to take the case.
Who?
Me.
I thought you were retiring.
I've still got a few years left in me. Good to see someone passionate about something.
Oh, sick! Dude, that'd be an honor. When can I start?
As soon as you can find a trench coat, a magnifying glass, and a fedora.
Unveiling, which I am sure you're all quite happy to see, I would like to thank the sponsors of this whole ordeal. The bake sales around the school have been a big contributor to the project, but pastries only go so far.
So, the whole investigation happened just because he forgot to tell everyone where he was going, and then just didn't catch me up to speed?
Pretty much. Hey, why didn't you call your mom when you realized he was missing?
She told me she was off on business a few days ago. When she is, she says impossible to reach as he is.
Not even a voicemail?
I left a voicemail. She responded this morning, in person.
At least you know they're both home now.
A big relief, believe me. Also, aren't you supposed to be at your new job?
Technically an internship, I think there's a difference.
Huh, okay. Still, aren't you supposed to be there?
I'd be in an empty office. Vince is in the crowd, somewhere. Plus, I did help out in the whole process. Let me have my 5 minutes of fame.
Fine. Think we'll be in the papers?
Yep.
The news?
Totally.
Man, maybe we'll even have books written about us.
I wouldn't get my hopes up. Backtrack to the papers. I think his speech is almost done.
And now,
smile for the cameras.
It is with great pleasure that I announce these marvelous contraptions. Open!